Hi, if you're watching this, then I want you to know that one of the biggest challenges that you can do, and one of the most rewarding things that you can, in a sense, overcome, is the challenge of life where you learn to be alone and you basically you come to terms with it. And the reason why I say this is because no matter who you are, no matter who you are with, you will always be alone in this lifetime. Okay? You will die alone, just like how you were born alone. And even if you are in a relationship, you, to a certain extent, would still be alone. And you might be thinking, wait, why would I be alone? Why would I be alone? Like, I have friends, I have family, so there's no possible way that I am alone. The truth of the matter is, the way I see it, everyone is alone because all they have is themselves. Because, and apart, and like it has to do with perception. So, if you're watching this video, like chances are you're probably like one of my friends or like family who is just watching this video because I have passed on, and you just, want to feel closer to me. And you're doing that by watching a recording of someone who's already dead. And this ties back into perception, because what perception is just the way in which we perceive the world. So basically, we create a framework of reality and we put it inside our heads and we just view reality like that through that perception. So when we do that, what happens is we don't really see reality for what it is, but rather we see reality for what we want it to be. And this applies to everything. We just do not see reality, but the perception of reality that we have created. So whenever we make friends, whenever we uh, talk with family, we don't really talk with that person, but rather we talk with the perception of that person we have created in our head. We perceive the person how we want them to be perceived, not the actual them. We perceive like a figment of our imagination. And that means that we are completely alone because we don't really know anyone 100%. All we know is the things that we have created and the perceptions that we have created. So when we are friends with someone, we are not really friends with them, but rather we are just friends with a part of our imagination that has tied with reality. So yeah, and that's why I said that all we are is alone, because all we have is ourselves and the things that we create. And in this scenario, the things that we created were our perception. And this is why I said the most rewarding thing that you can do in life is to learn how to be alone and learn how to deal with this loneliness. Because even when you are in a relationship, all of that happiness, all of that joy, it's not going to come from that other person. I know most people like to think that, love is something that can fix you. Loving someone else would do so much of wonders to me, but that's not how it works. You don't you don't gain love from other people, you gain love from yourself. It comes from within. And what happens is when it comes from within, you share that experience with other people. Love is not something that you get, it's something that you share. That's like think about people, like think about parents. Most parents love their children so much that they sacrifice a lot. They work jobs that they fucking hate to support their kids so that they can go to a good college and gain like build a powerful resume and get a good job. That's love. Love is sacrificial in nature. It's an experience which you share with someone. It's not something that you get from someone. It's not something that can complete you. It's something that you can only receive once you feel complete. In other words, only when you are complete can you share it with someone else. Because if you are incomplete, then how can you share something as profound as love? Like, it doesn't make sense, does it now? And I think one of the pathways in one of the pathways to be able to do that is to tackle loneliness. Because if you are completely happy being by yourself, if you are completely happy with being lonely, then relationships would no longer matter to you, in the sense that you can be happy in most relationships, because at the end of the day you realize that these other people are not what's making you happy, but rather you're the only one who's making yourself happy. And that's a good thing. That's not a selfish thing, because once you realize that, you can share that happiness with other people, and you can make those other people happy, because those other people probably relate happiness to other things. They don't realize that happiness is something that comes from within. So basically you can share something. And I'm not saying, like, if someone else shares that happiness with you, to not take it because of many different reasons. I'm taking you to I'm asking you to just appreciate it. I'm not saying, I'm asking you to just appreciate. I'm asking you to just understand that happiness just doesn't have to be something that comes from other people or other things. It's something that can come from within. It's something that can happen from both. And one of the hardest things, like I said, I said this multiple times now, one of the hardest things that you can do in life is to tackle loneliness. And the reason that is because tackling loneliness means that you're doing everything by yourself. You're tackling all of that dark shit inside of you, all of those parts of you that you are not very well versed in. You are tackling all of that. And it's very painful, don't get me wrong, it's very painful. But I think it's worth giving it a try. I think it's worth going through the pain while you're still living, so that on the day that you die, you can die peacefully. Because like imagine this. Imagine that you're about to die. Okay? You're about to die, which means that there's nothing stopping all of those parts of yourself, all of those lonely, sad, miserable parts from yourself from coming to the surface. Yeah, you're not going to be able to peacefully die. So why wait until those very last moments of yourself, until those very last moments, to actually tackle those very difficult things, when you can just aim to do that while you're still alive? You can still aim to tackle that loneliness while you're still alive, so that when you eventually do die, you can die a more peaceful death. Basically, you're preparing yourself to die peacefully. And that might sound like very depressing, but I don't actually find it depressing, because I find it very beautiful, the fact that you are challenging yourself by overcoming yourself, so that you can live better and you can die in a way in which you do not regret much. I think that is one of the most beautiful things a human being can do, because then you are living life to the fullest. You are living a life in which you feel satisfied, in which you are satisfied. Because most people don't, at least I believe, a lot of people don't live a life like that. Most people just, maybe not most, but there are a ton of people who live life and they do not they're just not satisfied and they die in a not so peaceful day, not so peaceful way. However, there is things that you can do about it, and I think the main thing that you can do is to tackle that loneliness and to realize that true joy, okay, true joy is something that comes from within you. It's something that comes from your perception. So why not perceive it to be something that comes from within? You know? And act accordingly to it. Because only once you do that would you be able to truly live a life that's worth living. And yeah, thank you. And I hope you enjoy the rest of the day.